All righty, live right here from Battleship, New Jersey. Beautiful scene of the Philadelphia right in the background. We're having fun out here on the deck where a lot of great soldiers served. It's time that Mark Farzetta of JAKIB Media joins the fray here. Farzy, I don't know, we're sitting watching the same game, wild as hell, and the Eagles come out with a victory. Your spin on this?
I mean, I know we say after some losses that the Eagles might have in the course of a season that they might still be able to pull out and win. They might be able to have a lot of struggles and overcome them. And we always like to say there's no such thing as a moral victory. Well, it certainly feels like even though the Eagles are 4-0, there are some moral losses woven in here, unfortunately. But bottom line is they keep finding ways to win games. And if you're talking about a guy or guys that can continue to deliver for this squad, guys like A.J. Brown today absolutely going off. I agree with your guys' assessment earlier that you just simply can't have that type of taunting call. Ends up being essentially an 11-yard penalty, and they needed every ounce, every yard, every second on that drive to come back and tie the game to force overtime. But it does not negate the fact that he was the constant target for Jalen Hurts today. Certainly a guy that delivered well today. And then you could also talk about Jake Elliott, who has been absolute money this entire season for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's one of 3 kickers in the NFL right now with 3 or more 50-yard field goals made. That is a man you can absolutely consistently rely on.
So the player you can bank on is definitely Jake Elliott, presented by First Trust Bank, the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, so when we look over this, Fars, when you're looking at the Eagles score that touchdown that put them ahead, what was your immediate reaction to that? Because our immediate reaction was, yeah, that's good. Wait a minute, maybe it's not.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I thought anytime you could put points on the board late in the game as you had, and Jalen Hurts has the ability to take a shot downfield, single coverage, looked like he checked to that play himself, so I don't fault Brian Johnson for it, more or less. But he had a chance to put up 7. He put up 7. I did not expect the defense to allow Sam Howell to go all the way down the field and score that touchdown. I sure as heck didn't expect, again, A.J. Brown to have that type of taunting penalty to give the extra yards there on the kickoff to the Washington Commanders. In the moment, I didn't have a problem with it. Now, if you're going by the textbook of football, do's and don'ts, it's certainly a do not. It is a don't to give that ball back to any offense, whether it be led by Sam Howell or anybody else. So on that particular play, by the book, sure, he did the wrong thing. But if you're asking Jalen Hurts, he had an opportunity to put up 7, so he put up 7.
Hey, Mark, we've always talked about the suspect play of the linebackers, but the last couple of weeks, both Morrow and Cunningham have really balled out for this team, which has bailed them out in a lot of ways.
I mean, I did not expect that at all. We expected the linebacking core of this Philadelphia Eagles team to be a problem, and that's what it has been for the vast majority of the last 20 years, a big problem with this Eagles defense. But when you look at the way they were able to play, when you look at the way that Zach Cunningham was able to learn this defense under a new defensive coordinator here in Philadelphia, him being new to the fray as well, and Sean Desai, him and Nicholas Morrow, a guy that, let's not forget, was cut at the end of preseason play. He comes back, gets a spot, gets an opportunity with Nakobe Dean going down, and next to a guy like Zach Cunningham has been able to go out there and absolutely ball out. 3 sacks today for Nicholas Morrow. First, look, I didn't see this game being as close as it was. I certainly didn't see it going into overtime, and I sure as heck did not expect a guy like Nicholas Morrow to come up with 3 sacks on the day.
I'll tell you what I didn't expect. I didn't expect Sam Howell to play this well. He was 29 of 41 for 290 yards, a rating of 98.6. Did not turn the ball over today. Showed some mobility in the pocket. I mean, is this guy any good or what?
I think sometimes, you got to give guys credit. He's been the starter there, and he played well through the first 2 weeks. He ran into a buzzsaw last week and got behind, and his rookie nature, expressed itself. To D. Gunn's point, you give Eric Bieniemy time to come up with a better game plan to help your quarterback not make the same mistakes that he made the previous week. He's going to do that. They came out, they threw the ball quickly, they got it out of his hands early, they converted third downs and kept the chains moving. And I think that when you really stop and think about it, I give Sam Howell credit for running the offense the way that Eric Bieniemy wanted him to run it. I put the blame and point the finger more at the secondary, specifically our cornerbacks. You can't play off the ball all the time the way that they do, okay? Even veteran quarterbacks are smart enough to say, okay, if you're going to line up at 10 yards, or you're going to give my wide receiver a 5-yard stop route or a slant route, absolutely, I'll take that all day. That's candy all day long. So in order for this defense, in my opinion, to to get to an elite status. Because the one thing you can say about Sean Desai is he is not like Jonathan Gannon. He is not going to sit back and play sticks defense all the time. He is going to bring some pressure. You've seen him bring an extra linebacker. You've seen him in the overtime bring 2 linebackers, at multiple times. But if you're going to play man coverage, you can't give the quarterback an automatic read once he reads the blitz is coming by playing that far off the ball. You've got to get up and challenge wide receivers at the line of scrimmage and force the quarterback to make the great throw. Okay, if it's the fade route, make him drop it in the bucket. If it's the slant route, be in position to contest it. But when you play that far off the ball, you're just giving yards away because he sees the blitz coming and he gets the ball out of his hands. That's just smart quarterback play by a smart offensive coordinator that's coached his young quarterback on what to do, not to make the same mistakes that you made last week.
I think one of the biggest mistakes the Eagles defense and their coordinators made was allowing Sam Howell to be comfortable right out of the gate, because they did a great job of mixing up the pass and the run. I didn't think Washington would be able to run on this Eagles defense. They had success running in the middle. They were only 3 and 4 yards runs, but those are necessary runs. 7 of their first 14 plays were running plays. So you kept their defense a little bit honest. And that kid settled in the pocket. They didn't bring the heat on him early. I guess they were trying to feel him out, see what he was going to do. So they let him get in the rhythm early. And when he walked down that field in 14 plays and chewed up over 7 minutes on him, that was a bad sign for this defense.
Yeah, I'm astonished that he got him down the field to tie the game. I came out, like, when they scored that touchdown, I came out here and I said, okay, it's over. And I was astonished that they got the ball back down the field. All right, the one little
but wait a minute.
The
touchdown that they scored is the thing that you have to look at, okay? So they had 10 yards to get the touchdown, and all the defensive backs were playing man coverage. Josh Jobe was lined up. They doubled the tight end in that situation. Josh Jobe was lined up. All the DBs were lined up on the goal line, and they backed up, okay? Johan Dotson ran down, crossed the goal line, and hooked up. When he hooked up, the ball was already on the way. You can't give up that kind of space like that in that situation. That was like stealing, man. It was like stealing.
Yeah, Farge, they want to bring you in here because you did the halftime spot with Kayla, who will join the show in a little bit, and Bill Colarulo. And Bill's he was chirping about now this way that the league is going to be able to stop the tush push, and they kind of did it today on a penalty. Explain what you guys were talking about.
Well, it was the unofficial official stop of the tush push, or at least the attempt there to stop the brotherly shove. Basically, calling Landon Dickerson, saying he was in the neutral zone, lined up in the neutral zone, and then you could look on the other side of the football, and they had their nose tackle directly over the ball as well for Washington. So it was a pick your poison type of thing, whether you're going to offset those penalties or just call the penalty on the Eagles, which they did in this case. That might be the league's roundabout way of getting rid of the brotherly shove by just calling that penalty, when it seems like even when they did it later in the game, it was the same type of effect where they just decided not to call it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the Commanders actually tried to do it with Logan Thomas, who is a former quarterback who's put on about 40 pounds of muscle to be a tight end in this league. But he didn't look like he was too enthused about running that quarterback sneak
not
a couple times.
6'5", 6'6" either. He can't get low enough.
He stood straight up.
Yeah, he did.
Everybody pushed him.
He didn't really want any part of it.
He was like, blow the whistle.
Yes,
he wanted to tap out in a hurry. But Farzi, what did I tell you on the pregame show when it comes to the tush push? Because it is a Philadelphia staple, what? They are going to try to find a way to negate that play. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, as you said, I didn't think Dickerson was lined up any further offside than any other time. And you're right, the nose tackle had his nose in the neutral zone. But who gets called?
No,
who gets called for
the Philadelphia Eagles do,
okay.
Gunner, because as you said, we'd love to get trolled here. They love to troll us.
And so what's going to happen at the end of this season? What did I tell you?
They're probably going to get rid of the brotherly shove.
Yes.
Well, but according to the broadcast, they said that is a point of emphasis this year, to make sure that the offensive linemen are lined up properly. Mm-hmm. And if you know that, then when you practice, that's got to be a point of emphasis in practice to make sure that everybody's lined up properly. Now you saw it to Kansas City in the first game. Yeah. That right tackle, he was living in the backfield, and they let it go. But after that game, now that's the point of emphasis. Yeah.
All right,
we got to keep an eye on the Philadelphia.
Let's take our break here on the sunny deck because we got to cool off a little bit, get a drink of water. Kayla Santiago will join us with the Diamond Debate coming up in a little bit. And John McMullen, who was covering the game down at Lincoln Financial Field, will also join us. It is the Pineland Hockey Eagles postgame show live from the Battleship, New Jersey, in Camden, New Jersey, and we're back at the
and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6. field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.